Alright guys, welcome back to another NeoTech update. I've got a lot of stuff to show you, so I'm just going to jump in and show you what we've been doing. First of all, just a little change to mob stands. I've got one over here that's a little better example. The follow player now is a little bit smoother, so as you can see, as I move around, he stays with me pretty well. It used to be a little jittery, but now it will just lock with the player's render position. It might not be showing up too well in the video, but when you put it in the game, it definitely makes a big difference. Okay, next we have quite a lot going on here. In fact, I'm not even done with these. These three are dealing with liquid metals, and soon I'll have another one, which will be the opposite of this. It'll take a fluid in and put out two fluids. So that's coming down the line. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I just wanted to show you a little bit of where we're going with some of the new changes. Along with that, we also have some batteries that'll be used in the crafting recipe for the net launcher. You can use whatever battery you want, and that'll determine how much power will come out of it. So, like if you put a elite battery, that's how much RF the net launcher will hold. There's going to be a pickaxe, so disregard that at the moment. There's this huge new metals tab. You can see we are automatically generating a bunch of metals, including their dusts and nuggets, ingots, all that fun stuff. Along with that, we also have two new ores, lead and silver, and if you want to add those into the world you already have, use simple retrogen and you can bring that back. That way, you can have access to some of this, because at the moment I don't believe we use silver for much, but some of our new recipes do require lead, specifically the batteries. So if you want to be able to have those batteries and whatnot, you're going to want to use simple retrogen unless there's another mod that already adds that, so it is ORD exported. Along with that, we also have a bunch of molten fluids. These will work with Tinker's molten stuff, so don't worry about that too much. We've also added some stuff like molten obsidian, liquid carbon, stuff we're going to use for making steel. So let's jump into these machines here. If I take, how about just an iron block? So if I take an iron block, it's probably going to do what you'd expect it to do. You stick it in the crucible, and it's going to melt it into a block worth of iron. We follow the same sort of methodology that Tinker's does, with the block being that much. That way we can make it divisible down to the nugget and you don't lose anything. So it should work well with that. When you have your molten whatever you want to have, you can put it into the solidifier, which you can change the different modes you want it to solidify in. So if I take this bucket of iron, I'll actually pump it out straight into there, and I wrench this. So now you'll see we're set to block mode. As soon as I add a block worth of iron, it's going to create a block of iron. So that's pretty useless in this stage, but the crucible to solidifier is not the intention of this new system. The moving down to a molten whatever you put in there is used mostly for something like the alloyer. So in order to demonstrate this, I'm going to make some steel. So to do that, I need, actually, let's use our crucible over here for this, just for demonstrations, because then I won't have any extra stuff. Alright, so I need to get an ingot of steel, and to make that I need an ingot of iron. Where do they have iron? There it is. And I need a piece of coal. Charcoal will make 2 ingots worth, so if you wanted to make 2 steel, you could use charcoal and 2 iron. So here we go. I'm going to melt down this iron ingot, and it should get pulled out and put over here into the alloyer. You can see it just got put in there. There's so little you can't really see it, but it's in there. That's why the tooltip's there. And now we're going to melt down some coal. And that should get pulled out over here. And as soon as it hits here, we should start cooking. And you can see there. Now, this is unupgraded, so it's going to take a while. But to 1, show off the new charging GUI, and 2, to show you how fast it can go, we're going to do that. So see, that's what that looks like, charging. And you can see over here we have molten steel. So now I need to take that to a solidifier. So I'm going to stick this here. Lost my wrench. We're just going to set him to export, and in he goes. Let's give him some power, and I'm going to steal one of these motherboards just because I don't want to wait around forever. And now we have molten steel, set it to ingot mode, and we should get an ingot of steel. Ta-da! So that's how you make steel now. This will be useful because the net launcher now requires steel, and you might want that. However, there is something new that is not implemented yet, but I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit of what it's going to be. So if I take an iron ore and I stick it in here, I'm not going to get molten iron. Instead, I'm going to get dirty molten iron. So, as I said, we have another machine coming that I haven't started on yet, but won't take me too long, should be within the next week. That is the reverse of this. You put in a fluid and it separates it. What you'll do is you will then put this dirty molten iron into the centrifuge. The centrifuge will separate it into lava and molten iron, and then you can solidify that molten iron into ingots. The benefit of doing this over crushing it into dust and then smelting it is that you will get 3 ingots worth per ore block. So, if you wanted to have a ore tripling mechanic, you can now take your ores, put them in the crucible. It will turn it into a dirty, molten whatever. You'll put that into a centrifuge, which will pull out the molten metal and the lava, which is the melted stone that was in the ore. And then it will be put into the solidifier, which will make your solid things. Now the alloyer will also do things like lava and water to make obsidian and fun stuff like that. It'll do bronze, all that fun stuff. And along with this new recipe system, we also have commands. So if I want to add, let's add our crucible recipe. And I'm just going to do this to see the format. So add crucible recipe. Now I need an item stack in, so in order to do that I need the mod ID, item, and metadata. So let's do Minecraft. How about an apple? And since I don't care about the metadata, I'm just going to put 0. And then the output is a water and the amount, or the fluid and the amount, but I am going to use water, and we're going to give it a, let's give it a bucket. So you can see there, it's now been added successfully, and if I were to put an apple into this machine now, and this is not, I should have proven this, it was not in it before, but now if I put the apple in here, we should get a bucket of water. So now you can add recipes to all of our machines while in game. This also supports the crusher, all that fun stuff. As well as that, I have changed the registries over a bit. So if you look in here, we have the configuration file, which if I open, let's see if I can show you what this looks like. You can see it has an auto update, which is if you want this to automatically update when we change the version, set this to true. That's the default value. If you don't want your recipes to be changed, or you want to set that to false. The current version is whatever version was found last. So since this is all version 1, it's version 1. When we do an update, and I can demonstrate this now, when we do an update, we'll go into our registries. So let's do the crucible. Because I just added something, I just want to show that things that you add can still be saved. I'm going to change the version number to 2. Now when we push this next thing for release, when you start up your version of Minecraft, it will handle moving things and updating to whatever new registry we think you need to update to. This means, like, if we add a lot of new crusher recipes or anything like that, you'll automatically get them added when you change to the new version. This does not mean that custom things will be lost, however, and I'll show you why in just a second, as soon as this loads. Alright, let's see if it's in here. So as you can see, in the Crucible recipes, we have our current one, which is whatever changed when we did the versioning, but we also have an old one with the version number. If I were to open this up, you can see probably at the bottom, if I can find the bottom, there it is. Here's the one we just added in game. It is still saved. So what you would do is you would copy this and put it into the current one if you wanted to add stuff again. So we don't delete any of the things you've added. We just rename it and move it. It won't get loaded, so you'll have to add it back to the actual one. But, it's still there. You can still copy it into it. And if you don't like any of this at all, again, you can open this up and you can hit auto update to false. This is an old one, so it has these extra tags. Just ignore those. These are the ones that you'll see. This is just when I was testing a couple things. And that's how the new registries are going to work. So hopefully that's exciting to some of you. Allow you to add stuff in-game and have the registries automatically update. Let's see if I have anything else that I need to show. Oh, we have the electromagnet. Along with this, we've also changed the batteries around just a little bit. So as you can see here, it tracks the current in and out. If you see it there flickering for a second, that's just it resetting so it doesn't, continue to always say how much it has. We're going to charge this thing up, and it's probably going to do exactly what you'd expect. Right now it's disabled, so I'm going to go ahead and activate it. If I drop something, you can see it's kind of following me around, and eventually I'll pick it up. Be warned though, this will pick up more than just items, and just because you're watching this, I'm going to demonstrate a couple of these things. For one, creepers, they'll get magnetized to you, and they come pretty fast. I'm going to set this back to peaceful. Let's see what else we have. We have prime TNT, so if you were to set off some TNT, be very careful about this because it will follow you. And it's pretty hard to escape. Even with flying, I had issue there, and it still blew up in my face. So you don't want to do that. Let's see, what else am I evil? I believe arrows, so you're not going to be able to shoot your arrows with this because the magnetism you can see there is making it have a little bit of issue. You can see it just zipped over there. Gassed fireballs, anything dangerous essentially is going to get pulled to you, so be very careful when using that. You can see here it's trying to pull that entity back towards me. When you see it shaking like that, that means it's trying to pull something. So if you see if I drop this, that's just it taking damage. There we go. Oh, dropped my own magnet. Let's see, I don't believe there's too much else. This pickaxe stuff won't be in for a while. We have a couple plans for that. There's the attractor that Donovan's been working on. It will essentially attract items to it and pick it up along with entities. So if you had a mob farm, it could pull the drops towards it and then fix it that way. Redstone clock. Something I want to mention briefly is that our tanks now will interact with stuff in world a little better. So if you see here, I filled this thing up with 5,000 buckets. I need to be in survival for this though. And then, let's say I have another tank over here, and I want to take everything in that and put it in that. Well, now I can just click with the tank in my hand. You can see all the tins in here now, and pop it into that one, just like that. It's that simple. So I can pick it up, put it in here. And this will interface with things like Tinker's, Smeltery, and stuff like that. So if you had a metal, you could pick it up, put it in there, Smeltery, and then be good to go. We're working on getting JEI support for these new machines. That's actually being worked on right now. So by the time it's released, you'll be able to see all the recipes there as well. The pump, logger, all this stuff should look familiar if you've been keeping up with the mod recently. Trash bag. Other than that, it's just been a lot of work getting all the metals integrated and working on giving us a little bit more options for crafting and even a tripling ore mechanic. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. If you have any questions, head over to the forums, find any issues, go to GitHub, all that standard stuff, and I'll try to post more of these, make them more frequent. The last one I had was a very early version of NeoTech, so hopefully I can get these out a little more frequently. If you go to my Patreon, you'll see I actually have a goal where, if it's met, I will for sure put out a weekly update showing you everything I've been working on. At the moment, I just don't have the time for that. So if you're interested, head over to the Patreon, give it a look, just see what you think. If you have any suggestions there as well, feel free to leave any comments. And aside from that, I'll see you guys whenever I upload another video. Goodbye.